you know, with the new company coming out, right? Brainchild. You got the new. Well, you got the Instagram ball
bearings.
Yeah, ball bearings.
Yeah.
Barbarians of the Sack. You should maybe rename.
It could be a video.
Yeah.
It'd be my book. I wanted to make a book of them when I get enough. I was like 300's not enough, but
300. That's a lot.
I want to like make some sort of book, zine or something.
You should make dolls.
I thought about that too.
Wow.
So you got to get your website together. You got to get this it's a whole thing, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of work to create a company.
Yeah, I know.
I mean?
I'm just stoked because it's an outlet. It's a different where to use a different part of my brain.
There you go.
Know what I mean, I'm still going to be skating and doing all that stuff,
right.
but I'm going to be utilizing this time that I'm not skating, doing something else.
And you know what, bro? You could be anywhere in the goddamn world with your computer.
That was a major thing for me too, because I didn't want to. I didn't know what I was going to do after I left home, because I knew what was going to happen. I knew I wouldn't be able to get a new board sponsor, or I knew I'd be able to get boards and shoes.
Of course. Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to get like a legitimate sponsor, and then after a while, I didn't know if I wanted one, because I've already.
I was going to say.
You know what I mean? I know the game. We know the game already. We did 20 years of doing it.
Exactly.
I know everything I've ever thought I wanted to accomplish in skating, I've done tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mm-hmm. So what is it that I want out of skating? And what is it I want out of a new sponsor? You know? And it especially these days with definitely not getting on Nike and all these things, there's no money anyway, so I might as well just do it for fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what and that's what this part was, and that's why I tried to be like, you know what, this is a different time now for me. I'm gonna try to eliminate some of these, you know, 2 tricks at the same spot rules, and you know, try to not be so controlling over because I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of how Rodney makes his videos, but they're fairly regimented in terms of before he's even actually gone out and skated.
Okay.
And I wasn't too crazy with that, but I did take a bit of it about being pretty controlling of what people see of me, because that is what I have that people get to see of me. Yeah. And that's the one thing I can control. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I want all control over that. Yeah, yeah. Especially, that's why when I go into editing and stuff, sometimes it's, you know, the editors are like, dude, what are you doing? Let me and it's not that I don't trust what they're doing, you know what I mean? Oh, well, in 5-incher, I had to trust what they were doing. I had to trust what Colin Kennedy was doing, which is easy.
He's a great guy.
Because he's amazing.
Very trustworthy.
But I couldn't be there because I was in the hospital with a kidney failure, 2 kidney failures.
Oh my, what?
And that was both of them.
At the
at the same time.
What happened, bro? Why?
Well, because it was none of this. But I don't drink coffee. I didn't drink sodas. I don't drink beer. I don't drink alcohol. Okay. I don't drink any of this stuff. I just water and like juice and stuff and Gatorade.
But when you had this going on,
it's all the same. But I didn't drink it. But anyway, it was coming to the end of the 5-incher video. Mm-hmm. And you know, usually you tie the video in with like random Berrics things, or like random, you know, the little.
You gotta do the United Nations.
Yeah, all this stuff.
You
so
kind of do,
build the hype.
I felt like I was on my own doing all this stuff, because at the start, 5-incher was a video part that I had that I was ready to put out, and Willow had a part, and we're like, we should do, all right, me and you, and then almost got it, and we're like, no. We're doing the whole video.
So you got to wait for everyone else to
So I waited for everyone else. I filmed a little bit here and more, a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. But I had to wait for everything. So then I felt, and I felt like I had so much time on my hands to wait for that. I was like the only one trying to do the Berrics thing, or trying to do the, you know, whatever little video to go, you know, to roll up to it, or all this stuff. So I was in the Berrics.
Whole 6-pack and
all that stuff. Yeah. I felt like I was the only one doing it or thinking about it, because they were filming their parts and I was done.
You were already.
And I was going heavy at the Berrics one day, trying to like, all right, I got to do a banging or something, because I don't think I've had one, I think, mini one, and I was trying to do one. Yeah, I was trying to do it, and just going hard at it, like trying to get all these moves, and. Just one day, man, I was in there trying to, I think, you know what's crazy? I think Matt Miller was in there that day. I don't know if he knows what happened after that day, but I was just trying to skate. I skated hours filming with Chase, just trying to not doing anything. Like just, oh God, killing myself,
Yeah.
not drinking water or anything. And then I was like, dude, after a few hours, I got to stop, man. I'm feeling crazy. So I went over and I like drank a little bit and went to take a piss, and it was like Pepsi. It looked like
Really?
it
Like
looked
brown?
Yeah, it was like brown. And this is, you know,
that's scary.
I didn't know anything. I knew that it wasn't normal,
Yeah.
but I didn't know the process of what happens, you know, where I was in stages of dehydration, all this stuff. So I was like, oh God. And I figured it would, you know, if I was fully dehydrated, it would just not piss anymore. So I kept, you know, it was all right. You know, I would still being able to piss and stuff, but I was staying in Torrance at the time again, and like I couldn't sleep, so I was bending over the only way I could sleep was to crunch over the bed.
Like fetal position
well, like
almost?
kneeling next to the bed and sleeping, kneeling down on the bed, and I was like, that's probably not good. So I flew back to Canada.
Would you?
You drink water at any time those 3 days?
I did, yeah, I did. Well, because after I was like, oh God, so I pounded Gatorade and like all this salty.
You're thinking electrolytes,
eating
the
like
whole
eating
thing.
like salty fries and everything. Like,
The salt's not helping.
well, again, I didn't know what I figured, you know, usually when you lose Gatorade, it's bring your salty electrolytes back. So I was like, yeah, this is a good idea. And then I flew back to Canada. This is the third or fourth day or whatever.
Okay.
And I went back and still feeling like it was just feeling bad. I wasn't like dying.
Yeah.
And I guess like, yeah, again, 2-3 days passed there. And my buddy was like, dude, we're going to go out. I never play tennis. He's like, we're going to play tennis. I was like, sweet, I'll come. And then I walked across the street from this restaurant. And you ever see what was the Transworld video where there's like a homeless guy out front of that 3 block in SF that was like dancing out? Was it like, you know, the 3 block of the kink.com 3 block or whatever?
Oh yeah, three down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when there was like a homeless guy in one of the Transworld videos, I think it was Free Your Mind or something, where he's like walking around like a zombie almost.
Tweaked, yeah.
I ran across the street and that happened to me. And I was like,
What do you mean you started going?
like my legs gave out and I fumbled into the middle of the street because I was jaywalking and the car's like, whoa, and I was like, oh my God. And then I got back to my buddy's place. He's like, you should probably go to the hospital because that's what you came up here. You probably think something's wrong.
Wow.
He's like, we're going to go play tennis. I was like, yeah, I'll meet you after. And then I went to the hospital because it was walking distance from his house. And I got in there and it was like empty, obviously. And the guy took my blood and I was like waiting. And he's like, dude, you are so messed up.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
No, yeah.
You were both up.
Well, he was a younger guy, but he used different language.
Yeah.
And he took me into the emergency room and he sat me on the gurney and was like, he told me what was up. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, dude, usually people with your levels of creatine and potassium and stuff are in a coma for a week already.
No way.
But because have been religiously skating for 20 years, not every single day.
Your body is.
And I was in the sun in the, LA, and it was, the skin was they didn't know what the hell was going on. And because I was skating, that was the only reason why my body had been able to handle it more than other people. But once I got in there, it was like, So
what did they do? They gave you an IV?
Well, they gave me 3 saline solution bags.
That's insane.
Right after, and they were like, okay, now you got to try and take a piss, and it was like this much. And they're like, oh my God, they keep doing it. And at night, I remember I stayed over there. I stayed at the hospital for like 8 days, and I walked around this emergency room, that I was in, that I got in there. And on the screen of the computer, it had everybody that was in there that they just got checked in, So nobody was in there. It was like
just sniffing around.
2 in the morning, but the screen was up already, These other people obviously were not walking around because they had other things like mangled. So I was just looking at everybody, and they're just like, yeah, this dude, the gut is, something happened with his arm, and it's like hanging off, and then like somebody's ankle was mangled, and they just, on mine, it just said my name, and it said, looked unwell.
That's it, looked unwell.
And they didn't know what was up, So, like, the next day, I got put into a room, into one of the rooms that it was a room with 2 beds. So but it was a long room. I was close to the door, and then there's a curtain, and there's a bed here. So if you walked in and didn't know, there was another guy in there.
Yeah.
But they were telling me what was going on. And I was like, oh my God, it could be one of 3 things. 2 of them, you need a kidney transplant.
Oh my God.
And 1 of them, it'll get back to normal once we figure out how to fix it. But we don't know yet. And my brother had kidney disease. So he had to get his kidney taken out, and my mom had to give him one of hers.
So you're already thinking like, well, my mom only has one left. Like I can't.
Yeah,
like,
so they were thinking as well. They're like, oh, so you have kidney things in your family. So they were, 2 of them was one of the ones that my brother has. You know. And the third one was this one called acute tubular necrosis or whatever, ATN, which is like fighters. If you're going on fighters get when they go down a weight class and they lose a lot of water weight, but usually they have like physicians and stuff there to be like, you are screwed up, you go in. And
right. Wow.
Or if you go on a complete bender and do cocaine and like wasted for, 2 weeks and you just are just torched. Those are the other. So I was
oh my God.
One of those, but eventually you get better. You know what I mean?
So you were in there for 8 days.
Yeah. Doing dialysis. I had 5 days of dialysis where they stuck the tube down and because you're
flushing it out, right?
Well, it was doing the kidney work so that the kidney could repair itself.
Crazy.
So that once the kidney repaired itself, it could filter the blood again. But I remember and then I had to do biopsies to do about my brother one because they wanted to check to see if it was the same as my brother. So they had to take 3 pieces of
hereditary.
They had to take like 3 little pieces of my kidney out to test it.
Jeez, dude.
And when I was when I was in the hospital in the bed, the guy beside me was this old guy. He had HIV.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was talking to him about it, and he was one of the major. He was like very into the gay movement in Vancouver scene in the 60s or 70s or something. So he was in for some thing that he had going on, but he had the thing closed. So they would take the syringe, the needle out of my arm because they were putting whatever medicine they were putting in. This one time they just took it out, and then the nurse left, and then this other nurse came in and was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And they like started doing like massaging and ready to put the needle again. I was like, they just took that one out. He's like, "Are you sure you should put it in there?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, you've been scheduled for some sort of injection." And then the guy was like, "Hey, I think that's for me," or something like that.
Right.
And she like went around the corner. He's like, "Oh, you didn't even know that he was in there." So that I don't know what it was going to be.
See, that's the thing though. It's great to question.
It happened twice because he moved out because whatever he had got better. And then another girl came in and it happened. I don't know what she had. She had something going on and it happened twice. It almost got hers too. It was going to get it put in my arm and she walked to the bathroom. She's like, "Didn't you just get one taken out?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "I was supposed to get one. Is that for me?" And the lady was like, "Yeah."
You never know, man. That's what I'm saying. It's great. You have to question this. If you're unsure.
What's it for?
Yeah, question it.
Yeah. Well, obviously
nobody's perfect.
I didn't know what
people
was
make
going on.
mistakes.
You had no idea.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Yeah. They heard it. And they were like, "That's me." Well, the crazy thing is at the end of it all, like the chick at the doctor that I had was, they did the biopsy and everything. They got the results back, and I was like, "Oh God, this is like day 8." I was off the dialysis machine, which is an intense thing to go through because some people have it for years.
Wow.
I had it for 5 days, and I was like, it was like an emotional thing to have to deal with that.
I bet.
Because you'd have to go down to a room and hook up at 7 a.m. and get your thing filtered for 4 hours sitting in a chair. People go there every day and do every other day and do it for years. And
you hear about the dialysis.
It's insane. But I was off it anyway, and they had all the tests done, and the doctor comes in. She's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get the results today, but I got to go pick my dog up at the vet, so I'll just give you a call when we figure out what it is."
Like you could go?
No, she was like, "I'll just give you a call and tell you."
Hospital were you in?
Tell you
giving
what,
people the same shots?
I'll tell you what it is when I get to the vet or whatever. I was like,
dude.
"You're going to go and tell me if I need a kidney transplant when you're picking your dog up at the vet."
Yeah, just text me,
Yeah, so I was like, "All right, whatever."
So you were fine though.
Yeah, and then she called me. She's like, "Yeah, it's ATN, so you just need to follow these things. You'll get back to then you see your come in for checkups to see if your levels are back, and you'll get back to normal.
Jeez. Listen, drink your water, boys and girls.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Well, I was sitting in the hospital bed, and I was like, I cannot believe all I drink is water and juice, and I didn't drink enough of it, and that's what's going to get me. So,
I got to stay hydrated.
and that's why I had to trust Colin Kennedy editing my part. So